Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Beyond the Broomstick, that podcast that opens up the opportunities and possibilities that spirituality can bring to you in your everyday life, whilst removing some of the woo-woo that we see on social media these days. Welcome. If we haven't met before, my name is Matilda and I am a professional psychic medium and spiritual advisor here in Australia. I've been working at what I do for well over 20 years, although I have been able to see spirit pretty much all my life. Today's episode is just about that. I'm going to talk about how I receive messages, how I translate them, and how I have received some information, especially around the election, because people are like, why have you lied to us? Why have you fibbed to us? You trolled us. Yes, Rachel, I am talking about you. Obviously, a lot of people do not have an open heart and an open mind and are unable to see that I am actually human and no psychic medium is 100%. Am I making excuses for getting something wrong? No, I am not. If you are on my Patreon, you would be well aware of that. And I think that giving you the information that I was given may help you to understand a little bit easier. I'm also going to be talking about surface level spirituality. To me, surface level spirituality is about people that want to take one part and not do the rest or live the rest. My job is so much bigger than pulling predictions out of my back end to keep people happy. I'm going to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about current affairs and what I see coming in over the coming months, just with a little bit more depth. First of all, I'm going to give a massive shout out to all of my Patreons, new and old. You guys are awesome. I have to tell you that it has been a bumpy ride for many of you, and it will continue to be a bumpy ride. But you guys understand how I have worked hard to ensure that you are empowered, irrespective of what is going on in the exterior world. That is my job, to help you build resilience. And I at no point want to make you reliant on my presence, but at the same time, I love your company. We have a feature that's fairly new in Patreon, which allows us chats. So I can go live where you will hear my voice and we'll talk about, sometimes we do current affairs. I don't really do predictions on there. I keep those for things like the coffee morning and the Q&A, which will be coming out this week. And we've got a coffee morning this weekend where we all get on Zoom and we have a chat and I answer questions of a spiritual nature or a current affairs nature. That's where you get the deep, dark secrets of what's going on. But what I want to say is you guys are understanding the assignment. You know that I will pop on every now and again. And January traditionally is a month that we have off in Australia. Many people don't go back to work until the 1st of Feb. It's our summer. The schools don't go back. And I would usually take January off work. But because I took time off for my surgery, I decided that I was going to work during January. I would have been popping in and out of the chats anyway, but I didn't put a schedule up. So I scheduled 2 chats a month and the rest are ad hoc. So I have been popping on many mornings around the 5 or 6 a.m. my time. I'm not going to make a habit of it because I'm not always up at that time. And my days are incredibly full, as you've probably gathered. But we have been chatting about all sorts of things. Some of them are spiritual topics. Some of them are pelvic floor exercises. But we have been having fun and we have been raising the vibration collectively. And that, guys, you should be proud of. I know that you all feel you need your hand holding. But the fact that you are empowering yourselves is phenomenal, and you should be so proud of yourselves. I am incredibly proud of each and every one of you. So well done. My Patreon, for those of you that don't know, it's a membership that I do some for free members, but it's $5 a month, mate. It's $5. People telling me that they don't want to, or the entitlement, or how dare I put stuff behind a paywall. If you understood the amount I got trolled and the abuse I got, even yesterday, I had threats in my DMs on social media. If you understood how by putting that little bit of a paywall up there allows me to feel protected and also protect the space in which people get to speak freely and build that community amongst themselves, and it is becoming such a beautiful community, you would understand why the paywall is there. Our chats are open. For $5 a month, you get access to the chats, the coffee morning, you sponsor my podcast, and you get a newsletter every month. And if you don't want to do that, that is absolutely fine. But then you join as at a free level, in which I am trying to create more content for the free level. But the in-depth stuff, that's behind a paywall, because I am sick and tired of having my ass kicked by people. I am human. I am of service, and I will continue to be of service. But unfortunately, I have to put that protection mechanism there. And that is that. But this podcast is free, and I bring you as much spiritual content as I can on a weekly basis. Yes, I will continue to post on social media, but it will not be to the depth that I do anything else, because I value my boundaries and I teach others about boundaries, and this is just one of mine. So that's my little lecture about Patreon. Link is in my bio as always. You can join for free and enjoy the free content. Fill your boots. But everything else is behind a paywall at this stage because, as I said, I am sick of having my life threatened because people don't understand spirituality. And we're going to talk about that in the segment about surface level spirituality. It has been a hell of a week energy-wise. I know that anyone in the United States is really, really struggling at the moment. I can only look at this as an outsider. And I want you to, unless you are a marginalized or a member of a marginalized community, which I know there are many that listen to me, I want you to help build the energy, because if you panic, if you are not part of a marginalized community and you are panicking, and you are sitting in that panic, you cannot be of service to those that are in need. We do not think logically and strategically when we are panicking and we are thinking about our own sense of fear. Put that fear into empowerment. If you have to distract yourself by watching the Game of Thrones for the 57th time, do so. But please give yourself this week to dwell, to feel the feelings, to allow yourself to grieve, because that is what you are doing. You are grieving the what ifs. Please take care of yourself so that you can assist others, because to be of service gives us a purpose to what is going on. And I know that I am an outsider looking in, but sometimes it takes an outsider to see the perspective. We will talk about what is going on a little bit later, but for now, that is my message to you. And I hope that it helps. But know that I am coming to you with nothing but love and admiration. And I know that probably doesn't help, and you're like, fuck off, Matilda. But know that that is there for you. And yes, I've been popping into the chats quite often to help build the community energy. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, the giant grey elephant that is sitting in the corner of my room. I got it wrong. I was shown by my guides that Kamala Harris, or the Democratic Party, the original prediction was the Democratic Party would win. I'm going to talk about how I received that information and how long ago I received the original information. And I'm going to let you guys translate what I was given. There is a comment section open on this podcast. And you tell me what you would have done with this information, because I have been channeling for 20 years. I am an incredibly good evidential medium, and I have probably between an 80 and 90% correct rate with the translation and delivery of the predictions that have happened. And I'm just going to recap some of those predictions. And before anyone comes at me, this is an information. This isn't a woe is me or a woe is me. This is an educating you how it happens so that you can make up your own mind. Information that I have received and translated and gotten correctly, and this is only a handful of them, okay? Many of these bits of information came to me totally out of context, and often the predictions happen between 12 and 2 years prior to them actually becoming a reality. So before any media, before any whispers, before any talk of them. So, and that's in evidence on videos that I've made, because that's why I date my predictions. But for instance, I was shown that Biden would not be the candidate, or Trump would not be the candidate during the election. But I saw both of those by seeing a ballot with their name scrubbed out. I knew there would be a female stepping into Biden's spot. Now, please remember that I am actually in Australia. So, yes, I knew that there was a female vice president, but did I put two and two together? No, I did not. Okay. I saw King Charles getting sick and it being a significant illness. I saw the Princess of Wales getting sick and it being a significant illness. All of these 12 to 18 months prior to them being a reality. I saw Iceland being under fire from volcanoes a year, 18 months before they happened. I saw Rishi Sunak being replaced by a female as leader of the Conservative Party and him no longer being Prime Minister. And I predicted that in December 2023. Or was it earlier than that? I think I predicted it earlier, but I included it in my 2024 predictions. And I saw Keir Starmer winning that election. I saw a gradual move to the right in Europe when it was all left-led. I have seen the hurricanes that hit Florida and Northern Carolina a year before they happened and brought those to social media. I saw a lot of the weather incidences that happened throughout the globe in the last 12 months, in the months that they were due to happen. People's deaths, the passing of Matthew Perry, the submersible. I predicted that just months before it happened. And various other things. All of my predictions are up there for people to watch. Am I bigging myself up? No, I am trying to explain that I got all of these things right from the same source of information, or the same way I get all of my information. How the fuck did I get the election wrong? And do you think it's kept me up at night? You would be absolutely right. Do I feel a certain amount of guilt? Yes, I do. But the reality is it's not about me. It's about you guys that are living it. And that's what I feel the guilt about. I want you to understand that if I thought that Trump was going to be president and I had been shown it, I would have prepared you. However, some of my 2025 predictions are now making sense. Missing pieces of a puzzle. I also saw that Musk was going to try and get into Washington 18 months before he put his hand up to help Trump. So, yeah, I don't know. But how I saw Biden not being in it was the ballot with Biden's name and Trump's name scrubbed out of it. That's how I was shown it. And I brought that to all of you, I think a year before it happened. I can't remember exactly. And at the time, in my 2024 predictions, so that were made in December 2023, I said it was sitting 50-50 between the Democrats and the Republicans. And I was really unsure on which way it was going to go, but I felt it was going to go to the Democratic Party. And every time I asked Spirit about who would win the US election, I kept getting a cross over Trump. So I worked on that and I kept pushing and pushing. So I translated that Trump was not going to be the president. That is my translation. I was never shown an inauguration either of Kamala or Trump. In fact, I was shown that there would be delays and massive problems with the election itself. Some of the information I was given that you all have was that Trump was going to call it far too early and he would not be victorious. The other part, and I was shown that by being given a clock and hours on a clock that, like the clock spinning around really quickly, and him with his hands in the air. So this is as I've moved through the time and I've asked for more information. I made that prediction the day before the election. If you remember, I was making my way down to Melbourne and I decided to do a last-minute 30-minute podcast episode about the election and to help keep you all calm. The other bit of information that I said was that this particular election would be incredibly litigious, and it has been announced that it is the most litigious election ever. A lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that you guys don't know about. So that is what I was given, and that is how I translated it. Tell me what you would have done differently if you are not getting the exact information from your guides. Because I've got a really good connection with my guides. Anyone that's had a reading with me, anybody that has seen my previous predictions, I've got a really good information, a really good connection where I get the information quite well. The other part of it too is that I continually, even after the election, I continually asked what is going to happen. And the message I got was hold steady. We've told you, and patience, patience, patience. Now, I was not one of those people posting on social media every single day telling you, oh, this all information has come and you've got to stand your ground. I literally said, and I will always say, my predictions do not shift unless I'm given new information. I will continually stand by what I am given until I get new information. I will not lead people on and feed you false information. In fact, the last couple of times, or the last month or so, all of my posts on my Patreon have said, my right brain is now getting in the way. Please understand, I think he's going to be inaugurated. I think that I have misconstrued stuff. And I said that really clearly on social media. On my Patreon. And the problem is that many people, and I'm not deferring blame here at all because I hold my hands up. I got it wrong. And there's reasoning that I can look at from the outside now. And I'm going to talk about that, but I'm not going to use it as an excuse. I'm going to talk about it as a maybe or a possibility. There are many people that will look at medium and psychic after medium and psychic, and it will be a continuation. And they're being constantly fed the information. And there were many people on social media saying, he's not going to be inaugurated. This is going to happen. We're going to use this. We're going to use that. We're going to use that. And that never came into play. I did put up some hypotheses, and I have talked about some hypotheses that I will remain stood in, and we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. But as far as I'm concerned, the information I received is what I gave you. And rightly or wrongly, I gave you what I was given. Okay? So I'm going to leave that with you. And those of you that are on Patreon, you can ask me whatever questions, but think about how you would translate that, because there was so much information that a lot of it just didn't feel like there was going to be an election. I'm going to be honest. Very early on, I thought, is there actually going to be an election? Is there a hurricane? Is there weather? Is there a delay? What is going on? And I continually asked for updates, and I continually got the same answers. So there's that. Do I think that there was interference? Yes, and I said there would be interference very early on. And I will find the clips from somewhere, but there was definitely interference. Do I think he won? No. No, I don't. No, I don't. And you can come at me and hate me as much as you like. And this isn't because of my prediction. This is because other people have said that they do not believe that he won. There were too many anomalies for him to have won that election fairly. I'm going to leave that bit there because I don't want to get myself into too much trouble, to be fair. But moving forward, oh yeah, and I also want to talk about this. A lot of people were expecting Biden and Kamala to do something. They couldn't. I think they were very aware, and I think there's other agencies very aware of what's happened. And Kamala and Biden had to make a decision for the greatest good because of civil war, the reaction of the other side, and the behaviour of the other side. There had to be decisions made. Do I think that they should have acted? Yes, I do, but I'm not in that government. They are aware and were aware, but the decision was made to save the people, and also Kamala wanted to be in her power, and the rhetoric of you didn't win fairly, you cheated, etc., marring the first female president of the United States and making that look like she stole it was paramount in their mind. That being said, I do think he is being watched very closely. I am not going to give people dates. I am not going to change the goalposts, but I am going to say that he is being watched very closely. And my first prediction after the election was that there will be enough rope. And I am leaving that very much there because I will not have people holding on to a date or an outcome. If you have ever had a personal reading with me, I will always explain to you that if I give you a date and you sit there waiting for that date to happen, and do not make proactive action, then you are going to doubt everything I give you around that. And I wish I'd fucking taken a piece of that advice when giving other predictions. I'll be honest with you. That was probably not the wisest of moves, but I will say he is being watched. And I have gotten that information very clearly. I have talked about it on my Patreon. I don't think this is playing out the way that everyone expected it to, but I also want to say to those guys that listen to 791 mediums, I am not the person that let you down when it came to the inauguration. I am not the person that said to you that he was definitely not getting inaugurated. You are the ones that put an expectation on that, not me. I felt that something was going to happen. How it's going to happen and the date it's going to happen is beyond my control. And again, that's not an excuse, but I know that many people thought that we were all saying the same thing, and we were not. I have made no more than 5 or 6 videos since the election and inauguration, or maybe last weekend. And none of those were giving, they just basically said, I stand by my prediction. If I stand by my fucking prediction, I stand by my prediction, and I do not know how it's coming out to play. That is what I want to say. And for those of you coming at me and saying I don't know anything about the politics in the United States, no, I don't. No, I don't. And which is why my predictions are out of context. I do not let them, the reality, what is playing out in real life, infiltrate my prediction, or the expectation of other people infiltrate my prediction. That is so fucking important to understand. Oh God, I sound like an angry bitch today. I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Peace shall come back. On that note, we are going to take a very short break to give a shout out to my latest Patreon members. I have had an influx of membership. You guys rock. Without you, there is no podcast. You support this podcast. I don't have ads. I don't like ads. This is about you. And it's always important to know that this podcast is for you, and you are the guys who are supporting this podcast. So we're going to do your shout out now. If you want to know about Patreon, please go along. I've talked about it enough. You don't need to know anymore, but go along and have a look at the link that's in my bio. I'm going to have fun with these ones. Okay, Hilda. Thank you. Joanna. Okay, I love you, Joanna. I hope you're listening. Joanna nearly got herself banned from Patreon today. During the chats, she put a simple typo that completely twisted what she said, and we thought our chats had been infiltrated. So love you, Joanna. You gave us the best laugh that we needed today. Elora, Ash, Jade, Honor, Rachel, Krista, Becky, Lindsay, Ronisha, Asty, Danielle, Amoretti. Oh my gosh, the amazing names. Who has subscribed for 12 months? Thank you very much, Amoretta. You will have to correct me if your name is read out incorrectly. Erin, Heather, Poem. Oh my gosh, these names. It shows how boring I was naming my children. Michaela, Stay at Work Dog Mum. Shana, Kristen, Debbie, Anne, Lydia, Sharon Ann, Victoria, Paula, Kelly, Christina, Rachel, Rose, Sophia, Books and Coffee. Yep, Books and Coffee are life. Throw in a dog and I'd be happy. Denise, Kita, Andrea, Casey, MMT, Disney GMA, Ida, Liam. Oh, I have to say Disney has sponsored me for 12 months. I'm so sorry. Amy, Peyton, Amy, Angela, Janet, Christine, Marcy Lynn, Bugsy's Bop, Renee Ray, who has subscribed for 12 months. Thank you. Laurie, who has subscribed for 12 months. Katie, Connie, who has subscribed for 12 months. Keisha, Shannon Scott, who has subscribed for 12 months. Ramona, Selena, Maria, Nicole, LK, Hannah, Sheep, Mystic Sheep at that. AG and Adriana, who has subscribed for 12 months. Stephanie, Michelle, Alexandra, who is a yearly subscriber. Leah, Eric, who is a yearly subscriber. Lee Parker, Shandine Bell, Tara Carr, Monica, Paige, Melissa, Holly, Richanda, Diane, Megan, Amanda, who subscribed for 12 months, Chaos, and John. You guys rock. You make this community what it is meant to be. You guys are the community. That is the most important thing that I want to tell you about the Patreon chats, is that I do go in, I do answer, questions as far as how things work, and I don't answer psychic questions in the chats because there are opportunities to do that as part of your membership. But I do join in the chats. I will comment on things, but it is on you guys to build that community and chat amongst yourselves and build that up. And you have never turned on each other. You have always worked together to build each other up. And I do not have to lead you. You are doing that for yourselves, and that is amazing. As I said, I do not want you reliant on me, but I want to empower you. And you are rocking that. You got the brief. I have not had any major argy-bargy, and my mods have got an easy job. So be proud of yourselves for that, and be proud of empowering not only yourselves, but each other too. And that is incredibly important. So I'm going to talk about surface level spirituality. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is people that have the expectations of an outcome without doing the work. People that preach spirituality without living the life. Aligning your expectations to your morals, to your way of life. If you do not live the life, then how dare you preach it? There's many choices about psychic mediums, and everyone is drawn to somebody that's individual. I've already given a lot of this is who I recommend, and I think some of you have taken up on those, and I think that's amazing. But there are many people out there that are doing harm to people. My philosophy is to do no harm, to leave people in a better mindset than when I found them. I mean, sometimes they get a bollocking from their guides, but other than that, I leave people in a good place and empowered. When you are expecting people to do certain things, or when you are controlling the narrative, then you are not empowering people to live the life. I will never, through your guides or my guides or through my everyday life, tell you what to do. I will give you the tools to do that. And it is really important that you feel empowered. Many people, especially, in this day and age, we want instant gratification. And people don't understand that you cannot expect your guides to give you or my guides to give you the answers you want without doing the work. Those who expect me to give predictions and treat me badly or behave badly and say really nasty things without an understanding of what I do, that's surface level spirituality. Surface level spirituality is not aligning your expectations with your actions. If your actions don't align, then you're fucked, basically. I have also spoken very, very frankly that 2025 is the year that if you do not start getting with the program of authenticity, doing the work on yourself and understanding yourself, your actions, maybe the harm you're doing or the problems you're causing, or to yourself or others, or doing the work to understand yourself and aligning your actions, then you are going to struggle this year. It is a fast-paced year. It is a difficult year. And there is a lot of things to come this year that are going to be difficult. And I am talking about globally. I do know that about 80% of my audience is from the United States. But globally, we are looking at an issue of impending conflict globally. And I have spoken about this on my 2025 predictions, but the heads up is you have to start working on your inner empowerment, whether that is feeling more in control, lowering your expenses, stop handing your power over to other people. Even as a psychic medium with a belief in what I do, this is what's made me angry about some of the reactions on social media. They just handed their power over to me and other psychic mediums. They went, okay, you can have all my power. I'm not even going to think for myself. And that's not what I teach. I teach empowerment. And it is really important that you know that. I am going to be channeling over the next couple of days in order to bring more information. I always talked about the fact that I couldn't get anything about the Trump administration because I wasn't being shown. I'm going to dive deep. I will bring that video to Patreon later this week. But I am not a make a prediction on a coin. I will channel and get the information from Spirit. What I can say and what I do know is that he is not very well, that this is a short presidency. And when I say short, I feel about 18 months, could be less than that, but I'm putting an 18 months. And my prediction last year was that the end of 2025, early 2026 may see him not around for much longer. But I will channel and bring more information. Has his presidency made international relations more difficult? 100%. Are those that voted for him going to suffer? 100%. The prices are not going to go down the way that he wants them to go down, or they want them to go down. His choices are going to cause an international uproar. And I see that happening in, I'm going to say, the next 3 months to 4 months. But as I say, I'll talk about that a lot more in depth when I've channeled and I can grasp it more. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, yes. Okay. We have a handful of predictions that I've already channeled for the coming months. Interesting stuff. The first thing is that I feel that Keir Starmer is going to be in some form of trouble it's almost like he hits the front page, but for, I don't think it's to do with finances or even to do with his position. It's like gossip, or someone sold information about him, or they've sold the story about him. He's not going just yet, but I don't think he's long for his position in 2025. It could be that he's replaced as leader of the Labour Party before the end of 2025. Do I think that he is, or there is a general election? No, I don't. Do I think that people want a more right-winged approach? Absolutely. I'm going to talk about the right-winged approach that a lot of people don't realise. And this is been shown over time. Please remember that my doctorate is in behavioural economics, and I studied a lot of things and a lot of history of economics during that time, including Great Depressions and wartime economics. And one of the things that I learned is that the reason many people start voting towards the right is through the fear and propaganda. Now, that always stems, or most of the time stems, from there will be unrest and difficulties in other countries, okay, causing mass immigration because countries become unlivable due to war, conflict, civil war, etc. And people become refugees because the countries that have the money are not supporting the countries where the refugees come from. So there can be an influx, especially across Europe, of refugees and immigration. And that is not always great because it causes a lack. It causes a lack of housing, and prices go up, and people assume that the crime is always, and I'm not saying it's not, but it's always caused by the immigration, and crime is caused by poverty and mental health and not an access to health, etc. So as immigration moves into Europe, the right wing and the conservative politicians start saying, these immigrants are taking away your rights. We need to stop immigration. It's removing your rights. It's making it too socialist. It's difficult. It's you fear for your life. Your houses are going to be taken away. There's not going to be enough food for you. And then people that are undereducated, and that's my new favourite saying, undereducated, start believing these people. And then the masses say, well, we don't want that. We don't want a socialist economy. We don't want socialism. It's uncomfortable to us. It means that we have to share the little that we have. And then they start voting to the right. And that is exactly what has been happening. So bear that in mind. You will see this all started to happen pretty much in the 30s, the 20s and the 30s. And we are replaying that now. Good socialism, not the tepid, the watered down socialism that we have now, works. Am I a fan of it? Not always. Am I conservative? No. Okay, Americans listening, conservative in the rest of the world is nowhere near your conservative. I sit in the middle. I go on the policies and the behaviour of a politician before I make up my mind on which side I am going to vote. I'm a swinger. I'm a swinging voter. Does that help? Anyway, that is your economics and history lesson for today. So I've talked about Keir Starmer. I also see some issues in California. Those fires are going to pick up again. The wind is going to be horrific as we go into the weekend and early next week. If you live in that area, please be very careful. A lot of windstorms in the middle of the country. I'm not sure if I talked about that last week. I can't remember, but that is happening in the middle of the country. And a lot of unrest politically this week in Australia, there's going to be a lot of tit for tat, and you will see that. I am not sure Anthony Albanese is going to stand the test of time. The election is going to be called. I don't know. Has the election been called? Have I not paid attention to it? Because I feel like that is called in the next week. And if it's already been called, I apologise. I have had my head up my ass. The US politically this week, watch the bickering start. It is big. There are going to be some bombshell news I feel before the end of January, but I like to give myself a week. So let's say the first week of February, where secrets are coming out. Things that were not put on the table when it came to the election that are coming out now. And Trump is going to have the MAGA start turning against him. It's not big. It's little by little by little. He is going to be get caught with a microphone and some nasty information he says is going to come out. So watch for that. I also think he's got a health scare coming up in the next couple of months. I'm going to leave you with that. Have a great week, everyone, as best a week you can. I have a couple of events coming up. They are linked in the show notes, including a large mediumship event in February. I have the 1st of February, my appointments for April go live. I think I'm out of appointments for March now. They go live in April. Remember, if you're a Patreon member, you also get the nice juicy discounts on booking readings. And on the 8th of February, I have an event, a joint event with Laurie Rivers, where we do our joint predictions and events and what is coming in for the world and what we see happening. So keep an eye on that. For now, have a phenomenal week. Lots of love and speak to you soon. Take care.